time ever skaters compete on the street and in the bowl. The Tour Long Beach, that's tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Those crazy things on four wheels, just as we're seeing these guys do amazing things on four wheels as we riding along now with Joey Logano. Logano trying to find some speed. He's the fastest Ford in this practice session, 6th quickest. Watching him shift. Kevin Harvick now fastest in this practice session. He was able to turn a quicker lap than Kyle Busch. Kyle Larson, Kurt Busch, Paul Menard, and Joey Logano, the top 6.
Joey got really loose on corner entry.
Checking his mirror, if there was somebody behind him, he knew they would have been catching him. I think that was probably enough for Joey Logano. It looks to me like he's going to come on into the garage at turn 1, ruin the lap. He's not going to put that bad lap time on. I like when a driver does that. He says, you know, I'm not going to put this poor lap time up for everybody to look at, so I'll just quit, come on in.
It's always a competition, isn't it? You can see he gets down in the corner, never quite gets to the bottom. Car wiggles a little bit, has to chase it up the racetrack, and that doesn't look like a lot, but trust me, that's survival mode at that point. That's just keep from wrecking.
And we see there's a dark line around this track, but we're seeing the guys run below it. They're not running in that line. What you would normally see is, oh, that's the preferred line. That's where the rubber is, but they're way below that.
Well, you have to remember, you know, while the Xfinity cars are not here this weekend, you're over in Iowa, the ARCA cars are. Right, you're on completely different tires. So that's another thing that makes this tricky racetrack even more difficult, is that big dark groove you see. Looking at the lap times from these Goodyear tires and how they stay very consistent and don't lose as much speed tells me that my opinion would be that's probably the Hoosier rubber you're seeing making that real prominent groove. So these cars like Matt Kenseth right here, he's going to try to go below that dark line. You see well below it on corner entry, just his right sides are kind of in it.
So it's just rough it is.
Yeah, so you know, it's always interesting to me. You know, Pocono is one of those races. We were just here a few weeks ago as a series. They were here 7 weeks ago at Pocono. Indianapolis in between. So if you come here the first time as a team and a crew chief, you have a lot of new ideas, the new lower downforce package, how's it going to apply here? But now we're here a short 2 months later after running Indianapolis and the first Pocono as Paul Menard. Talk about Danny Stockman, he went ahead and stretched his legs a little bit, went back to the top of the board just to prove a point. And you know what it does is, what team could improve the most? Like we talked about how the Hendrick cars, we showed the 88-24 racing for the win when the 41 got past the most. We're now shortly into practice. It seems that Kyle Busch, Menard from the RCR camp, Kevin Harvick, Jamie Murray, some new players so far in practice towards the top of the sheet.
Steve, I just want to jump back to that Hoosier rubber discussion. I actually did the ARCA test here a couple of weeks ago before the first race here in June. And one thing I can tell you is that those cars, they're a lot tighter, and that the Hoosier tire is very different in that it lets the car, it does wear a lot more, and it makes the car a lot tighter as well. So you do run a little bit different line than you would, per se, in a cup car or in a truck car on these Goodyear rubber. And that's definitely something you're seeing there. And I can tell you there was a couple teams that waited just a little bit at the start of this practice so that some of that Hoosier rubber got picked up off the track so that they could have the best track with their rubber on it.
Parker, I don't think there's such a thing as a truck car.
Why do you want to pick on the guy?
ARCA car or the truck car?
A truck car. Hey, Parker, I'm with you, bud. You're a driver. I got you back. Don't listen to him.
They're all cars to me. They're all race cars to me.
But what a great perspective Parker brings. You know, having experience here in the truck and in the ARCA car, a couple starts in both series. You know, he talks about those different lines. Those are the things I've never been here with an ARCA car. So that's information he's bringing. I think it's very important, very prevalent to the broadcast.
And the 7, Regan Smith will make his way back into the garage to the attention of his crew. Paul Menard back on the top of the speed chart at Pocono.